Hey everyone, it's Julien, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how I made the hard mix of my new single, My Eyes. Like I said yesterday, this track just dropped on my label, Reflection. The link is at the top of the description. Definitely go grab it. If you haven't already heard this mix of the track, that's also there, so you can go check that out. Like I said, it's a little bit harder, a little bit heavier, but today we're going to be breaking down how I made it. I appreciate all the support on the release, guys. And also, if you really want to help me out and support me, go grab the project file from this track. It's available right at the top of the description for just $10. You get a really, really solid project. It's a great template to work on your own tracks for. Plus, it really helps support me. I don't make a whole lot just off of these videos and just off of the music. But with these sample packs and different things and project files like this, I'm able to keep going and keep bringing you guys new videos, new content, and new techno every single day. So yeah, thank you so much for the support, guys. And let's dive into the track. So like I said, this is the hard mix. I wanted to create a mix that was a little bit harder, obviously, a little bit darker, but also something that can be played by hard techno DJs. Because the truth is, I'm not too partial to like 128 BPM techno as I am, or more partial to that than I am to hard techno. I kind of like them both equally. The truth is like, if I had it my way, we would have a format that everybody just plays. But because there's like kind of harder, more melodic techno DJs, and then there's DJs that want to play the 128 BPM stuff, two mixes. And basically the idea here is that it's meant to be just a different execution of the same idea, right? Like all the same stuff is in here, like that same like... We got all that stuff. We've even got like some of the guitars and stuff. But just a little bit faster, a little bit harder. Again, just sort of reformatting that same idea with different execution. So what we're doing here is we got the kick at the start. A nice hard techno kick. This is definitely just one from one of my videos. Just one of those super, super punchy, hard hitting kicks. And then we're actually doing this tom bass. So the original sample, like it's literally an acoustic tom-tom, as they call it. And then what we're doing is it's playing 16th notes. And you can see I've got a filter on there. So we're cutting off the highs. And then it's got like a little bit of short reverb on it. It's being sidechained to the main kick. And then we cut out the very low lows, like the stuff that you wouldn't really hear that would make the mix a bit messier. We're boosting here to kind of bring out like that fatness a little bit more. And then we're just cutting off a little bit more of the highs. And the last thing on here is this utility, which is just coming into mono. You can hear us again without it. And then with it. And yeah, so we got that. And then on the group of those two, you can see, so we just have a high pass filter, which automates in a few different places. You can see there's a bit of frequency automation on that. And then we also have a low pass filter. So yeah, the thing about a lot of times people think when they're transitioning these kicks in the track that it's just the high pass filter, right? It's just the high pass kind of fading up. But if you just do that, I'll turn off the low pass. Listen to how that sounds. See, you still get this like coming through with that. It sounds weird. So that's the purpose of the low pass filter. It just makes it kind of disappear. And also, it's a bit of a smoother kind of disappearing because now you're kind of like closing in on the sound, right? Like we're taking out the highs, taking out the lows at the same time, and kind of just like volume fading the sound, but even smoother than volume fading. And then we just have this EQ in here, which is cutting at 25 hertz, just cutting the stuff that we wouldn't usually hear. And yeah, then we have our drum group. So it's not all in a group together, but this is basically all the drums. Now you can see these are pretty straightforward, right? It's all just sitting on top of this like heavy 909 hi-hat. Which you can see is completely dry because it's just like a nice fat sound turned up. And then this 909 clap, which has a bit of distortion on it. And that reverb. You can hear the reverb kind of gives it that perfect amount of atmosphere there to kind of fit into the track. So it's like those two, like when you're starting this, you're going to start with these 3 layers right here. Which technically 4, but yeah, like the bass, the kick, kind of as one thing, and then the clap and hi-hat. And then we add in these rolls. Which are adding just a lot of groove. These are from one of my videos as well. But then we also combine that with some loops here. So some of these Vengeance Club Sounds loops, kind of a classic thing. I'm sure you all know what that is. And you can see, yeah, we're like kind of a bit of automation here too. Just with a low pass filter to kind of bring this in and out in some different places. It works well in the intro too. Like with these kind of tracks, I love having like the long filtered in intro because then like it kind of creates like different parts. Right? Like they all 3 sound different from each other. So yeah, and so basically if you combine those with those, it's going to sound pretty good. But then the rolls, you can see, just kind of fill in that extra space. And just add a bit more groove to the track. And the ride, that's just going through a bit of echo. You can see just kind of spreading that up. Got it on the ping pong setting. And then it's really fast. So you're getting this like wider sort of thing there. So yeah. That is going to be the drums. And if you listen, like if I solo the drums, like that's at least 50% of what you're hearing right there. If I get rid of that, there's not too much left, right? You know, it's really only 3 other elements that you're hearing. And that's something that you want to keep in mind, is that the drums are going to take up a lot of the space in this music. And you don't want to end up making like your drums kind of too little. And then wondering, like, where all the space is. Like, you know, if we just had, like, this. You'd be kind of scratching your head, like, you know, where do you go next? Well, it's because you need to be filling in the rest of the space in the track. Not with, like, an ARP or a synth lead or something like that. But just with some simple drum elements. So something to keep in mind. Then we have the bass lead. Which is pretty much that same one that I showed you in the video breaking down the original mix. But there's an extra layer there. This Fab Filter Saturn. Which is only being blended in there a little bit. But listen to without it. And then with it. So what's happening is this is adding just a little bit more distortion. And you can see it's just a multi-band distortion, right? It's just this like thing where I'm just doing a few different types of ones on different bands here. But then that's essentially like then doing this multi-band distortion. Kind of a little bit different than if you just had. Then you see what I mean? It just adds a little bit of a harder layer in there to kind of make this a bit fatter and stronger. So we've got that. Then we have the multi-band distortion, same one I showed you yesterday with the highs going through a saturator, mids going through an amp, and then lows going through nothing. And then the only other stuff here is just low pass filter, which just brings it in and out. High pass filter, which is the only automation is just in this part to kind of make it disappear. And also over here, so it doesn't come in too strong. Because if you don't have that, you get that. So yeah, and then the last thing on there is just this auto pan, which is just making it sound like it's being sidechained to the kick. You guys have seen me do that before. Then we have the lead, same lead I showed you yesterday, where it's just very simple notes. Just 4 notes. And then it's that same kind of cool lead sound where it's just saw waves, but one has like a pitch envelope going up, and one has one going down. And there's also some noise in there, low pass, bit of vibrato in unison. We've got Portal over here, which is just adding, again, like you want to keep this pretty dry, but just blending it a little bit can go really well, I think. We got echo, amp, reverb, just kind of adding some color to the sound, and then a high pass filter, low pass filter, shaper box, which we're using to just make it bounce up from the kick, a compressor, utility, which just turns it up a little bit, and then finally just this washout for the break to kind of make it come in. And yeah, then we have these, which I also showed you yesterday. So again, it's taking the same creative idea, but just kind of executing it a little bit differently, because now these have like a whole other meaning in the track, kind of coming in there. And it's like an exercise to see like how you can use that same idea, but kind of communicate it a little bit differently each time, and ultimately get something a little bit different and more unique. And yeah, we've got like the vocal. This one's going through a little bit of Little Altar Boy for the pitch, just using that format. We got that same micro freak effects. Same pad from the last one too. We have the guitar pads as well, which are these. So again, this is just me playing guitar and then chopping it up with some pedals. There we go, there's another guitar. And then these are the same guitars, but I actually distorted these a little bit. Maybe not this one, but this one. I think it sounds really cool with all the effects that are already on the sound. And yeah, that's all pretty straightforward processing. And the only effect that we have in this track, beside that little micro freak effect, is just this reverse crash. Right, which is just at a few impactful moments. And yeah, with this style of techno, you're not going to have as many like sweeps and effects as you are in like the track that I showed you yesterday, for example, because it's just a little bit harder, a little bit more underground and aggressive. So the transitions are more happening like with the sounds themselves, rather than because of different effects that you bring in, right? Like just having that clap come in there, for example, is so much more effective than having like a big reverse sweep there that like you just really don't need as much effects in the track. You just need like a little bit of stuff like these reverse crashes or something to just kind of carry it along a little bit, but nothing that's just going to be like happening every 8 bars or anything like that. And yeah. So that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. And let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get the full project files, samples, MIDI, presets, everything like that from this video is available at the top of the description on my Patreon. And also on my Bandcamp for just $10. This really helps support me. If you guys enjoyed these videos, again, I don't make a whole lot just off of the videos, but with the sample packs and these project files from my tracks and stuff like that, I'm able to keep going, keep bringing you guys new videos every single day. So if you enjoyed these videos, definitely go grab that. And yeah, thank you so much for the support, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow with another video.